Hello, hello. Next segment, I'm excited to be in conversation with a few more artists from the community, real energy providers to the collective. Some folks I've known for a while, some folks that we've just crossed paths with recently, but the universe is always aligned and always brings the right people in the room. That's been a true testament to all of our gatherings. And if you're there, that's where you're supposed to be. That's who you're supposed to be around, and that's the energy you're supposed to be exchanging. So, yeah, I've had the privilege of meeting these two artists to my left this summer, when we had a community involvement in an exhibition that I curated called Inside Out. Jade was one of the models in in one of the subjects for Rashida Zagon's images that she presented. And of course from there, Jade was like, I know I'm here as a model and part of the subject, but I'm also exploring photography. I've also do textiles and just other forms of expression. So this is literally a conversation about that as individuals, getting to know the art, getting to know the artist, developing as those things, developing as art, developing as artists, and what that process is like. Because again, we're all multi-dimensional. We have lots of modes of receiving information and expressing information and emotions, and I know each of you have very beautiful and unique ways of presenting what your perception of the world is to others. And I would love to tap in with each of you today to just kind of be in conversation about those things, those processes, those experiences, and decisions that go into, the art and being the artist, and presenting what's in your mind to others. So we have Do, we have Jade, and we have Steven, 5 a.m. Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you.
You guys feeling okay? You guys
Yes.
loose, nervous, tight? What's up? What's up? What's up? Y'all good?
It's good.
Awesome. Always calm. Always calm. I'm gonna just open us up with who are you as an artist to each of you?
Whoa.
Too much? That's too much to open with? Okay, let's start.
You starting with me?
Yeah, we'll start with you.
Alright. So as an artist, it is my responsibility to share my journey. And the goal is to inspire, to get another to share their journey so they can too inspire, like a domino effect type of vibe.
Mm-hmm.
And within that, it's to make the comfortable uncomfortable and make the uncomfortable comfortable. Just to be like a virus within this system, so to speak. As far as who I am, I'm still figuring all the aspects of who I am, really. But I'm like having a human experience, to put it short. And the journey is interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah. That's it in a nutshell.
Got it. What about yourself, Jay?
I feel like I am similar to what he said, an infinite being living a human experience. So my art feels like an energy exchange to the universe. I feel like I was having this vision earlier, and I was seeing like the energy coming through my crown chakra and going through my hand chakras and creating the art. So that's kind of how I feel when it comes to being an artist, and it's healing energy for myself and for others. And that's really how I feel about being an artist at the core.
It's powerful.
For me, I think it's something that I cannot be. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just always been a driving force in my life. Like, whether it's writing, whether it's photography, whether it's collage, like, just something I cannot do. And then another major part is, like, Du said, like, inspiring others, and I feel like mentorship. So, I don't know, my mom's a teacher, her mom, like, we have a lot of teachers in my family, and I feel like being a mentor and inspiration is something that drives me. So if I can help people, that's like the goal of my art. So it's like I show you what I can do, and I'm like, yo, you could do it too. Let's figure out how we can like get everyone to do this, you know?
Yeah.
Because art's important, and I feel like our society like pushes art away, and it's like we really need that
For sure.
as human beings. You know?
Yeah.
So,
I feel like art is like one of the most like natural forms of like individuality, of like personality, like having a personality and being able to like reside in it. Like you find your way that is like a tangible expression of your personality and such, and so much of that is stripped from us early, in school, by our families, by being discouraged by, you know, peers and such, or just the media and like different things that we consume, that we just kind of get like steered away from those types of experiences and opportunities to just kind of like delve into, again, personality and these expressions of emotions and feelings. What's one of like your earliest remembrances or experiences of like being a creator, being an artist, being someone that has like expressions to offer outside of yourself?
It's very interesting. I used to teach 3rd, 5th grade art at Southeast DC, and one 5th grader told me that you cannot spell earth without having art in it. And that made me think, as far as how art is the first language that our spirit knows. Even before we start speaking, we sing. Before we start like writing actual words, we doodle and draw on the walls and stuff. And before we start walking, we dance and move around and such, you feel me? So I feel like for me, those were like my first expressions. I remember drawing like on the walls in Haiti. Like my great grandma like saw that I was interested in giving me like a roll of it's like an ancient scroll almost, but she was very ancient too. But yeah, I used that and started drawing. I had an uncle who was an artist as well. He had painted a presidential painting for the current president at the time in Haiti, and so I had him to look up to growing up, and kind of followed after his footstep. And he showed me a few things, and I've just been doing that. So I was expressing myself the best way I knew how.
That's beautiful.
For me, at a young age, I used myself as a muse, like just being a little girl, like intrigued with makeup and clothes, and then drawing and dancing. I kind of used all of that as an outlet, and then also I use my vessel as a decorative, a canvas within itself. And that was the early stages of my art, and then just blossoming from there and like incorporating that, like modeling with fine art as well. So from a very young age, just being a little girl intrigued with, you know, pretty things or whatever. That's where it started for me.
Yeah, I think, you know, doodling, dancing around as a kid, and you know, being Jamaican is like, you know, school, and I think when I came here and in middle school, I started writing a lot, because I used to just tell a lot of stories as a kid, and I found that like writing it down just helped me like remember it, you know, because sometimes like as a kid you have a lot of stories, you know, and you just have a lot of things that you want to do, and I just always was just writing things down, and that was just some of the most fun that I've had as a kid, like reading, you know, I'm Capricorn, so it's like I'm always like introspective and by myself, so like reading my own stories was always fun for me when I was a kid.
It's nice. Yeah, as the writer, it's always like that was just like the thoughts and the feelings, and then it was like, oh, there's images here, there's dreams and like vision and other things here that if you just speak it, you don't necessarily have the opportunity to like catch it. So like writing it definitely, that's how you remember, that's how you actually experience your thoughts, you know, instead of just having them run through you. For me, at least, it's like when I write it, it's like I remember writing it. It's kind of like in my being at this point because it was made into something, which is writing and spelling, and I don't want to get into spells and all of that, but you know, but I think that's what a lot of the creations and art that we do is, like with textiles and such as well. Like you're weaving a lot of pieces and, you know, intention and energy together, which I think is really at the core of art and creation, is like just weaving of anything to make something, to express and share something. It seems like, especially yourself, like your family was a very intricate part to your exploration as an artist and your just like safety to express. How has family and your surroundings, for all of you, kind of impacted the ways that you create, the things that you create, if at all?
I feel like family definitely like impacted like my creations very heavy. Like I was saying, my uncle, and not to mention, I never grew up with my dad. But when I met him, he was a visual artist as well. And I got a chance to see like his art, his studios, galleries. He was in New Jersey, but he passed like earlier last month actually.
Wow.
Yeah. So I didn't get a chance to continue exploring his presence rather. But yeah, they definitely had a lot to play, like a beautiful role to play. Like my uncle especially. My mom's also a dancer. I saw him. My dad was, you know what I mean, that came along. But yeah, my great grandma, she was very supportive of my creations. For like, they didn't really. Usually, kids get in trouble for like scribbling on the walls, but like they encourage it to a certain degree. I mean, I got a few taps, you feel me?
Just a few.
But yeah, they supported me by providing me with the tools that I needed to create. My grandpa got me my first marker set, and that's when I started using color. I was 10 years old, and the journey just kept on going forward.
I love that. For me, my mother is a voiceover actress, music director, so she's on the radio and uses her voice as her alchemy. And with the acting background, my father is more of like a entrepreneur, like brain box, so he knows how to like. I think when he was younger, he would know how to like take a computer apart, put it back together. You know, knowing the technology aspect of things, of alchemy. So when they created me, like they created this like really like multifaceted child who was interested in everything from tech to beauty to acting, dancing. So they kind of observed me and like just gave me the tools when I was younger and let me just be free with it. And yeah, I'm very grateful for that because I feel like, you know, when parents do that, it lets the child like really expand and explore in whatever way they naturally gravitate toward. So I'm very grateful for that support.
Beautiful.
Did you have the same kind of support?
Yes and no. So I think my mom was always trying to ensure that there was art in us. So we did music, like trying to learn piano. I'm a terrible piano, like can't play piano, can't play the recorder, you know, can't read music, right? But like, but she would always buy me like notebooks, or we would always go to the bookstore, or you know, she saw that was my passion, so she was just like, all right, cool, we'll go to the bookstore this weekend, you know, like that's like your present for the weekend, you know. So I always felt very supported. And then when I made that shift to photography, she was just, you know, she helped me with my cameras, or every Christmas, like she's trying to, oh, you need a new lens, like, you know, so
nice.
But then as far as like my dad, like he was in our life, but he did leave. But he was also very like, no, you need to figure out how to work and like how to make money and how to survive. You know, so like there's like tension there. Where it's like to him it was like that's not reality, right? I guess his alchemy was like trying to make money and like trying to survive in the world, right?
Yeah.
And then hers, she was just like, she was like that, but she always was like, yeah, but he likes art. Let's figure this out for him. You know? So definitely felt supported, but it's still like a duality there, where you know sometimes a lot of artists like lean into the world because they feel like you need to survive, right?
Yeah.
So I felt supported.
It's a balance.
Sure. It's funny, my family, like, there are a lot of artists in my family, but nobody in my family is an artist, if that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it's like my dad used to draw, like pencil draw. He used to love drawing horses, and like realistic, really beautiful, like you spent a week on that type of drawings. Paintings, I have uncles that paint, just lots of things. And like you said, there's that duality between like life and just like living, I think is kind of what it is. And yeah, it was always school and grades and hooked on phonics and like all these different things. And like we took piano lessons. I had to be in band. Like, you know, you had to do these activities. But for me, it was kind of like presented, you know, as a kid as like something to learn, something, a task to do, something, you know, to complete. And I'm not as musically inclined as I would love to be. I have to like read music, like you said, and like practice, and it's definitely a practice for me. And those were kind of the things that I was fed as a kid and growing up, to the point that like writing was kind of like a little personal escape for myself. And I mentioned it in a segment earlier that for me, like those expressions don't become art until you offer them to somebody else, until they leave your personal world. Otherwise, like that's an expression, you know, for yourself. That's writing, that's a photo, as opposed to here's my art and that's now an offering. And it took me a lot to grow to the point of saying I'm a writer. I don't just write poems, or I'm a poet, and you know, things like that. So I'm just curious about you all and your beginning stages of I'm an artist, I do such and such, to oh, I do more than that, or now I do this as well, and the marriage and the integration of all of those things. Like, where did you find yourself starting off as this artist, and how have you seen yourself evolving in different areas?
So
Go ahead.
yeah, I'm gonna keep this.
No, I was about to pick on Jade, but go ahead.
Okay, I'm like,
So I think like, you know, elementary, middle school, high school, you're trying to figure out like who you are, period, right? And so all through that time I was writing and doing things, and then I went to college, and then I just didn't have time to write. So I just realized that I could pick up a camera and tell stories and write stories that way, right? But all through that time, you know, there was a point when I had to say like, yo, I am a photographer, I am an artist, I am a writer, because like, you know it, your body knows, like your soul knows like you're an artist, you know, but then you feel, sometimes you feel uncomfortable claiming it, right? You're just like maybe scared, at least for me, I was like maybe a little scared to say like, yo, I'm an artist. And then as that went on, like claiming it made it easier to do, and it's easier for me to, you know, not only be an artist but also, you know, be a professor, be a PhD student, like whatever, because I realized that, hey, you know, the world will tell you that you can't do a lot of things at the same time and be good at a lot of things at the same time, but that's just the world trying to like you guys said, like trap your light in this human experience, and like your spirit can do a lot of things, like we can do a lot of amazing things. And like once I realized that, I was just like, yo, I'm a writer, I'm a photographer, I'm a PhD student, I'm a professor, and that's fine, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like that can inspire a lot of other people, because once we get out of this trap of just you can choose one thing, and you could be good at this, and that's it.
Yeah,
It
do it for
changes.
50 years.
Yeah.
What?
Changes everything. But yeah, so that, yeah, pick on her.
So, okay. So I grew up doing a lot of different forms of art, and went to school for art. Have a degree in visual communication and graphic design. So, and I started off as a fashion design major at SCAD. Transferred to Howard University to finish out my degree, and switched to graphic design because I thought it was more lucrative. But it also, just when you find out different, I guess, perspectives of certain industries, you kind of adjust your path with whatever resonates with you. So I realized this. I love this question because it's something that I've been recently like pondering on or reflecting on. And a lot of the time I was comfortable in my life selling my services, doing graphic design services, doing hair, makeup. But when it comes to like my precious art, I am still looking for the confidence to do so and really put myself out there and sell a piece. And it's something that I've only recently have done, even though I have a ton of pieces. And I don't know where that really comes from. I don't know if it's kind of being too attached to my art, my alchemy. But I don't know, maybe you guys can have some advice on like how to get out of that shell, or even like, I don't know, but it's something that I'm forcing myself to do now. And yeah, I'm looking forward to kind of getting more into that groove and into that world, because what you said was it's not really art until you really offer it to the universe. And like, yeah, like if I'm not offering it to the universe, like I can't, receive the blessings and, bless somebody else, right?
Yeah.
So
like that was personal experience. I would write and it's just, okay. It was written and it was like it might as well not have been written. It's like no one reads them, no one sees them. I maybe go back and revisit them, and yeah, that's not why I wrote a lot of them to begin with. But also, there's alchemy here. This is what you have to offer. This is what you created, what your mind has conjured, what your spirit has called you to put out there and to say. And I think that being what it is as an initial experience might be the attachment to like not wanting to put it out there, because it is so personally yours, so tightly connected to yourself. But there's so much comfort in knowing like, yo, that shit was dope. Like, yo, I felt that. Like, I hear you. I see you. I understand that. So I think if you could take that as your encouragement to like not detach from it, but potentially attach yourself to the sharing side of it. Like these slaps started for me shaking on the mic, just like reading a poem, because like this was my poem and now I'm offering it to y'all. And not that I care if you like it or not, but like this is me. Like I'm saying this is me that I'm hoping y'all are even listening to, let alone like and stuff like that. So I think that might be part of it, but the practice of it, the experience of offering and then receiving from what you've offered to other people to receive, it's a snowball effect. It'll definitely build some momentum for you. Absolutely. For sure. Dude, how about you?
So creating for me was, like I told you, how I started very young. So I've always acknowledged myself as an artist, but it got to a point where I stopped doing art, like from middle school, 7th grade till like sophomore year in high school. I was not doing art. Well, I was doing art, but I wasn't expressing like I wanted to. But I was writing though, and I started telling stories, and I had merged that with the painting aspect. I stopped writing, but I started telling stories with the paintings. And that's how I create nowadays, where my aim is to inspire through like telling a story. it may not be my own story sometimes. It may be another one's story that I've witnessed, or because I see a lot in my days, and I'm not even 25 yet, and I've seen I've seen quite a lot. So my goal is to not simply see and not do. So what I see, I express, and hopefully I learn from it, and another that I reach through the paintings that I create can learn as well. See, I try not to aimlessly create. I create with a purpose, and the purpose is to reach another.
And just to give you some more encouragement, like, you never know who's watching and who's being inspired by you. Like, even in the past week, I've had like 2 people DM me. It's like, hey, I really want to start collaging because I really saw what you've been doing, and I was like, I was just doing that for me, right? But I was just putting it out there. But it's like, you just never know who, because a lot of people are like trapped in like themselves, right? But you can unlock that for them by like just releasing your art. Because people are watching you anyways, right? A lot of your friends be like, oh, she does that? Oh, well, she does it. Well, I can do it. And, so just get out your head and just, do it.
Sometimes I feel like, people can digest or palette you in a certain light. And so when you try to introduce a different side of yourself to the world, it's like, how are people gonna, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So that's where I am right now, but it's like, doing things like this, I'm so appreciative of it.
Of course. But that's even more motivation to keep us on our toes. Don't let us put you in a box and be like, oh, I thought you just, or oh, I thought you do this too. Like, here. Just keep hitting them with it, because again, we do so many things, and you just mentioned oh, I just did that for me. But then when you offer it as art to someone else, it's inspiration, it's understanding. It's like oh, now I have the words and the expression for it. I couldn't express it, but your expression helps me to, again, ground and understand that as well. So
remember, they're putting you in their box, right? You own your box. So
yeah, for sure.
You.
For sure. Are you guys in any kind of phase or season in your artistry right now, do you feel? Dabbling into something new, anchoring in on something old, dreaming up something?
Recently, I've been doing, I guess you would call them textile pieces. What I do is I'll hand dye them with herbs, such as turmeric, or I'll use just plants or foods, black beans, hibiscus flowers, and then I'll mix them with baking soda or vinegar to change the actual color that it produces. So I've been experimenting with that for about a year, and it's been amazing. It's been an awesome experience, and I've turned them into rugs, canvases, all kinds of things. So even clothing. So that's something that's that I discovered within myself, but also with the resources, but putting my own twist on it and just having fun. I feel like a scientist. So I love this medium. So maybe I can start mixing that with paint even, but it's been so fun just being in my kitchen, just mixing up all of the different ingredients and using things from the earth and producing, precious art. Yeah.
For sure.
It's
Very beautiful.
I love that natural dye, and it's just, you want to talk about storytelling, just having earth parts and those natural pigments and things be a part of that expression, and knowing that it fades and how it sits and all that other stuff. I appreciate that. I know your spirit is dancing in those moments.
Absolutely.
But, it's one of those look what I have created moments.
Oh my gosh! After it's done, it'll be wet. Let's say I'm doing a fabric, it'll be wet purple, and then when you see the next day, it'll be a green or something, or have a pattern when it dries. So It's so fun. I want to start like sharing with people how I do it so that you guys can experience it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's awesome.
Yep.
It's just it's awesome finding another form of alchemy that gives you that a similar feeling
Yeah.
as another one, and it makes you think like, if I can start doing this, I can. There's no limit to what I can create. Really,
Facts.
keeps me interested in learning different
Mhm.
mediums.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Go where you are moved.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's
How about you?
When COVID started, I was like, I want to learn how to draw because I've always tried to draw as a kid. I still didn't learn how to draw, but I learned how to collage, and I started doing digital collage because that to me it's like another form of drawing. And so yeah, I just been leaning into that, and you know, started releasing all the information about how I learned how to do it. So like I have a playlist of all the videos I've watched. I've got videos of me doing it, so like people can just like watch me and like
Yeah.
like take
Be a
that
part
step.
of that process. Yeah.
So yeah, definitely do that with yours.
Good stuff. I've been dabbling with NFTs as of lately. So like, cause I have like a whole bunch of different creations from high school up to date. So I'm taking those and like transferring into this digital platform and even like animating them as well. So just tapping in with that.
The metaverse. We're not gonna go there, but there's space for everybody.
That's crazy. So it's just hopefully I can bring some substance into that as well.
Yeah. I love the I always say it's so important to, like, as much as it is to have an end product to offer and say here's what I made and I hope it moves you, like being able to document that process and share that as well. I think one, it's super, it's like a form of journaling for self, in terms of being able to document that process, but then being able to share how we got here essentially with others, I think is also super important. So how do you all, we're gonna close on this one, how do you all stay inspired and like motivated to continue to create and to push your boundaries within that creation?
That's good. I think for me it's like I always tell people like I don't have a choice. Like I always have like this weird drive to like when I'm not creating or not making art, I feel weird. Like I feel like out of place. So even when I used to work at like Home Depot, I used to just take the receipt tape and just be writing in between customers and stuff because I just had to. You know, so it's like I'm always inspired to create work. But you know, there are lulls, and I feel like you can get inspiration by, for me, like helping other people make art. That also inspires me, like mentoring people. That's very, you know, that gives me energy to continue when I get low.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Beautiful.
For me, it's recently it's been diving deeper into nature. I've realized that like when I'm in nature, I really like feel myself. You know, I see myself in everything around me. So when I travel more, when I'm in the forest, when I'm at the beach, I get the downloads more organically. I'll get like literal like downloads, channels, ideas, names. Just by sitting down and meditating by a tree.
Imagine that.
The tree just gives you all the offerings you need. So it's like, so yeah, that's what's been helping me with my inspiration, nature.
It's powerful. I do agree with the solitude aspect of that. I find solitude. Well, I find inspiration through solitude. And whenever I'm done being alone, I love to go and witness other people and see what they're doing. And that brings me a lot of sources, a lot of inspiration. I appreciate even coming here. Like that drive was like very just me and self and the creator. And coming here to hear your stories, and that brings inspiration. And can't wait for the show.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Speaking of, all three of these beautiful individuals will be presenting work and creations in our visual art show that's opening next Sunday, December 5th. Always grateful again for you all having the courage and the ethereal wisdom to create and show your work and share it with folks. So I thank you all for the opportunity to get to know you all as artists, to get a better understanding of your art. And yeah, just look forward to growing and building a community with you guys, and hopefully working with you all again. Just being in, again, this energy exchange of so many possibilities to create and communicate really just makes me want to work with everybody. Like, I'm trying to create something with you, I'm trying to tap in with you, and not in a like, hey, let's do something, but like, I already know like the alignment of just being here and being in conversation and sharing ideas is going to be a download or an idea that kind of sparks that allows us to keep remaining in community with each other. So I'm glad you have the opportunity to again share and be in space with each other. And yeah, thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.